Hello, beautiful souls. Let's talk today about how dieting and overexercising ruined my life, and perhaps you're in the same place. So if this sounds like something you're interested in learning about, healing through, wanting some proven tips to overcome it, then stick around because I got you covered. And give me a like right now if this is a topic you want to hear more about and you're looking to experience more freedom, acceptance, peace in your relationship with your body, because I will be sure to deliver on that content for you. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am on a mission to support you to overcome these struggles with your body image and food that are truly imprisoning your life and set you free with proven resources and tools so you can live the unstoppable, confident, and worthy life to get everything you want. So yeah, an invitation to subscribe if those are things that you want to learn more about and experience proven tools with. Okay, so dieting and overexercising totally ruined my life. I grew up in a household where my mom experienced a lot of struggles in her relationship with her body and food, and so it's not her fault by any means, but growing up, the reality is growing up in an environment that has that you grow up under really does lead you into having that predisposition. And I learned this story very early on that, I had to be pretty and I had to be fit and my body was really important in my worth, and that if I didn't actually maintain a certain body that I would never find a partner or I wouldn't be successful, and these ridiculous stories that really ruled my life. And that led me into being a perfectionist and being obsessive about school and overachieving and never feeling enough and doing competitive dance, and the story goes on. And I developed disordered eating at a very young, meaning like high school age. And that was the first time that I really understood that counting calories, obsessing over food, shrinking my body was not the way to feel more worthy. I actually felt more invisible than ever. My family didn't even know. It's like my family literally didn't notice me. My dance teacher had to call and let them know that I had a problem because they literally didn't even notice. And it's not their fault. There was a lot of stuff going on in our family dynamics at the time, but I truly felt invisible. And I was so miserable. I've shared this in other videos before, but my bodily functions, like honestly, I had zero control over my body because I was so thin and I had so little energy that I used to have to bring a second pair of pants to school because I used to wet my pants. Like, that's how little function I had in my body. It was really sad. And I just learned at that age, like, it just wasn't leading me to the life that I wanted. And thank goodness I worked with the right doctors to overcome the struggle. But to be honest, it wasn't even about the doctors. There was a lot of shame in those offices and a lot of pressure to change the way I ate. And it worked really well for me to have this kind of rebellious attitude, which is everything that my company represents. Because I was like, I don't care what you tell me to do. I'm going to change this for myself because I want to overcome it. So that led me into university, and I had such an amazing time in university. I felt like I had so much freedom, and you're drinking with friends and just having fun, but it's like these underlying stories followed me everywhere. And I became really depressed and had to eventually call a suicide hotline at school because I felt just really depressed and low in my self-esteem, and I never really solved those issues. So working with practitioners at a young age really helped me to understand what healing looks like and what psychology was all about and how we can heal our mind. And I became really fascinated to overcome these struggles myself. I was on antidepressants at one point in my life in university, and I just felt like this isn't working for me. I totally understand, and I want to just put that disclaimer out there. Like, I'm not a licensed practitioner or medical doctor in any way, so you have to work with a team to understand what's best for you. But for me in that moment, I just knew I want to overcome this, and I don't want to do it with medication. And I became really fascinated about the mind. So I started doing that work, started introducing myself to personal development and working with the early leaders of positive psychology like Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, that sort of thing, and got really excited about how to connect to things in myself and grow and develop and overcome these thought patterns in my brain. But I was still really struggling with food. Like, even though I wasn't necessarily on a quote unquote diet, I was still restricting my food. I was still really used to feeling like it wasn't okay to eat a full meal, and that I had to work for a meal, and that if I should eat a plate of pasta, that meant that, something bad was going to happen to my body the next day, or that I had to work out twice the next day. And I eventually, I became a fitness instructor in my late 20s, and I love teaching fitness, but it was a place where it really highlighted my struggles that were still present. And I was in a world of comparison, comparing my body to other people's, feeling like my body shape didn't lend itself to being a fitness instructor. Like, I didn't have a six-pack. I had naturally more muscular thighs and a different body shape, and I just felt really miserable. And so I thought the only way to love myself more is to go on more diets, more restriction, and exercise more. And at certain points I was exercising maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. I would teach all the classes I had to teach, and then I would still do my own workout because I felt like it didn't count to teach the classes. And I certainly was not eating enough food. And then I found myself binge eating at night uncontrollably into a complete spiral, because obviously my body was reaching out for food. Like, I wasn't feeding myself enough. And I really started to notice the deep effects of how awful dieting was and how awful overexercising was. I always had this idea, because diet culture paints us this picture, like, restrict what you eat, move your body more, and you're going to have the body you want. And then all of a sudden you'll be happy, right? No, that just led me further and further away from reality. Like I said, I developed binge eating, emotional eating, where I had this uncontrollable urge. So no matter how healthy I was in the day, a certain hour hit in the evening, and I could feel this intensity to want to go eat something. And even though I didn't keep unhealthy foods in my house, I could make a binge happen on anything. I could mash some bananas, throw in some healthy chocolate chips. I don't even know what I was concocting in there. Protein bars. I would just stuff my face for hours, almost in a blackout. And then I would feel so much pain and shame that I would just want to literally, I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I would just cry myself to sleep, and I didn't want to live my life. And this cycle of restricting my food really pushed my body into wanting to binge, because I wasn't eating enough. And that was a very clear signal that I was ignoring for a really long time. So this period of restricting went on for so many years of my life and took up so much energy that I denied myself going on vacations. I missed a trip to New Zealand with my family because I was too worried about how I would maintain my eating patterns and my workouts. I missed trips with significant others, going to Hawaii, because I didn't want to be seen in a bathing suit. No matter what my body looked like, I had this chronic story that it wasn't enough, that, my arms weren't muscular enough, my boobs weren't big enough, my thighs were too big, whatever, there's too much cellulite on my ass, whatever it was. There was always something, and it didn't seem to matter what diet program I was on, how much exercise I did, whether it was weight training or whether it was HIIT training or whether it was Pilates or whether it was yoga. I was never satisfied with my body, and I did so much to hide myself and hide my body. And I'm a very outgoing person with a lot of energy, a lot of fiery energy, and I feel like my fire was very dim for a really long time. And it was really isolating because I actually didn't really talk to anyone about it. I only really felt comfortable opening up about my struggles with my body in my early 30s, and I'm 34 now. Yeah, I always have to check. So this restricting and, over exercising put my body into adrenal fatigue, where I basically shot my adrenal glands. I had too much stress and cortisol running through my body, and my body started gaining weight. I lost my appetite, and even though I was eating less, my body was actually putting on more weight. And for a person whose main fear was weight gain, I basically came face to face with the biggest fear of my life. I gained probably 15 to 20 pounds, and it was mostly just centralized in my belly and thighs. And I was very, very depressed. I once again was met with this very real reality of just how worthless I felt, and how it didn't seem like anything I tried to control in my life with respect to my body and food was working. And so what was I supposed to do? I was going to be lonely and miserable for the rest of my life, and that's what I convinced myself. And I remember having to it just makes me sad, because it's just so sad that so many people still struggle with this. Yeah. I just remember having to call my parents and having them to talk through on the phone with them, like having to fall asleep on the phone with one of them because I was so unhappy in myself and my body. And I couldn't find a cure. I went to so many doctors, naturopaths. I spent so much money trying to fix my body and lose the weight, and that's where I kept getting stuck. There was nothing, naturopaths could identify that I had adrenal fatigue, but nothing was actually like wrong with me, and there's no actual solve for adrenal fatigue. So I just finally realized, the key to overcoming this is to stop dieting, to stop restricting, to stop believing the bullshit that we learn to believe to be true from diet culture. For as long as I remember, I believed that carbohydrates were bad, that I couldn't eat sugar, drinking was bad, like et cetera, and it really ruined my life. And it took getting to that like rock bottom moment where I realized this is so unsustainable. Like I'm not even going to be able to live and be present in my life unless I overcome this at a root level, like not with a diet, not with another exercise program, but actually working through what's going on in here. And I started working with a practitioner. I started working with a psychologist. I was in therapy for honestly like 20 years for a lot of things. And I found it really valuable, but I tried EMDR, I tried all those things, I tried hypnotherapy, and nothing worked, honestly, really long term. No like amazing foundational shifts happened. Growth for sure, but nothing like really earth shattering. And so someone suggested I try EFT, otherwise known as tapping. Changed my life, honestly. I learned how to overcome the fear of foods, the fear of my body changing. I learned how to reprogram my mind. I learned how to come face to face with these things that have controlled my life for so long, and finally took my power back in a way that felt so empowering to me, so miraculous, that I was like, this has to be my life's work. I have to show people how to overcome this themselves. And I can say with absolute confidence, since I myself experienced tapping, since I became a certified practitioner, since I developed my own method for overcoming these issues, I have an 8-step proven method. I have not binged. I have not restricted or been on a diet. I have not focused at all on my weight. I have a completely different relationship with food. I cleared things like financial debt, intimacy issues, relationship blocks, all because it was connecting to my relationship with my body and the attachment of my self-worth to my body. And if we're going to continue to feel that our worthiness is attached to the way our body looks, then we're going to continue to be miserable, because our bodies are not constant. They fluctuate all the time, and you'll attract people into your life that only value you for your body, and you'll continue creating and recreating that same storyline. And you'll continue not speaking up at work, not going on the vacation, not wearing the bathing suit, because you feel like you're not worthy in who you are, and that your body dictates how you get to show up in the world. So my message to you is, I know and feel your pain if you're going through this. I can assure you that you're going to get through this. I'm going to link out so many videos on my channel here that are the exact proven tools I use to overcome these struggles with food in my body. I've never felt so alive in my life, so free, so grateful for every second of this life. And I manifested the partner of my dreams, who I'm getting married to. None of this would have been possible if I was still struggling deeply with all these issues and them consuming my life, because it took up 99.9% of my brain space every day. And I know that those of you that are still struggling with this feel that, and that you want to reclaim your life and take your life back. So if that's something that you are up for, if you're done with these struggles sucking your life day to day, if you want to actually live your life and not have your body be the reason you do or do not do something, you want to be able to go and have dinner with friends and like not worry about what's on the plate. You want to eat a full meal without feeling guilty. You want to wear whatever size of pant and not worry about it. You want to put on a bathing suit and actually feel ease and acceptance about it and not compare yourself to the person next to you. Then please pick up the phone. I would love to support you and talk to you about how you can actually experience those life-changing results today. please don't ring in another birthday going through these same struggles. You can absolutely find freedom from them, and it's so much simpler than you think. And I realize giving up dieting feels like the scariest thing, but the only thing I got from giving up dieting is my life. Get it? The thing that I got from quitting dieting was my life. I got it back. And not only just a life, like the best life that I could possibly lead, because I don't have those struggles consuming me anymore. And I want that same freedom for you. So I love you. Thank you for being here. And I will see you again soon. You got this. You will overcome this. Freedom is waiting for you.